Hi, welcome to a new series I'm doing called the Menopause Walk of Fame. It's going to be a series of videos that are going to talk about the things that I wish my mother had told me about menopause. And for most of us, most women in my generation, we never heard anything about menopause, right? Our mothers never said anything. Well, at least my mother didn't. I think it was that generation. There's just a lot of silence around it. There was a lot of shame around it. Hence instead of walk of shame, it's gonna be the walk of fame, because I really do feel like this is such an important, fabulous time in our lives. And I really wanna help capture that and help to pass on that kind of information and wisdom to younger women in particular, but also to my peers that might be struggling a little bit with this whole aging process, going through menopause. So today we are going to talk about the energy shifts that are happening as we age. The world would like to say that we are declining, right? You're getting old, your energy is subsiding, it's declining. It's that whole myth thing about negativity around aging, especially around women. Oh my gosh, we carry such a burden as we age. I mean, it's really, really tough. We're living in a society that is just worshiping youth. Everything about being young is just, that is the goal. Hence, you're seeing all these women doing massive amounts of plastic surgery, different kinds of things to upkeep their looks and to stay young. Now, I am all for staying young and anything that we can do in that way. And I don't judge any of my sisters for any of the choices they make, but it's why you're making the choice, I think, is the important thing there. But anyways, let's go back to the energy shift. Instead of decline, I'm going to call it shift. And I want to explain why I feel like it's a shift and it's not this decline. Here it is. I have less energy to do the things that I want to do. I have less energy than I had when I was younger. So therefore, I can't do those same things. Well, hello, welcome to aging. You're not supposed to be doing the same things. That's not the role that we play anymore. You know, the role that we play now is different. The energy we have as younger women is all outwardly focused for the most part. If we look at a percentage, it's going to vary person to person, right? There's going to be a part of you maybe that's a little more soulful, looking inward, and it varies. You know, it varies greatly. You know, I had a certain percentage that I worked with my whole life. But the key is that most of it is about looking out in the world and having energy to go out and do the things that we want to do. But also, this is important, is it takes a lot of energy to fulfill the roles that are put upon us by a society that says our worth is contingent on how well we take care of other people. Our worth is contingent on how well we take care of our house or our family or our job at work. It's all about out there people pleasing, smoothing things over, you know, having our radar out all the time, our antenna tuned into what is really going on, and taking responsibility for those things. I think this is the problem, is we feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that everyone and everything is happy and smooth and working well. It takes a tremendous amount of energy fulfilling the roles that society says that we have to do. And I've got lots of videos on that. You can kind of peruse through and see all the ones about the lies and the paradigms and the distortions that we are raised with immediately as little girls. You know, it's kind of I look at it as taking our natural propensity to take care of things, to take care of family, the village, all those natural, beautiful things that are associated with estrogen and our feminine essences and hormones. But then it's distorted in this world. And what happens is that when we try to fulfill those roles, it puts an enormous amount of stress on our energy. But because we're young, we seem to have abundance of it, and we can go, give, feeling, okay, I'm doing the right thing because I'm taking care of all this stuff, you know, all this stuff in my world. So, you know, I feel good about myself until we get older. And then that raw force, I'm going to call it force, and distinguish that between force and power. There's a wonderful book out there called Power versus Force. That's what it is. And it talks about the difference between the two. And how I translate that is when we are trying to fulfill outward things there without an inner core attached, it takes a lot of force. It takes a lot of force to move the elements of the world around and move people, manipulate people, move things around to get the outcome that we think we want. The outcome we think is like the best outcome. And it might be a fabulous outcome. But because we are just using our raw strength to try to make it happen, it just takes a lot of energy. Well, in comes the miracle and the blessing of aging, is you don't have that anymore. You don't have that raw energy reserve. For the most part, has been drained, right? I don't know about you, but as I've entered my later years, there's this incredible feeling of being drained by, oh my gosh, by trying to do so much when we're younger. And quite frankly, there's a lot of resentment that I have to deal with around that. And it's not resentment towards others, basically. I'm the one that did all that. I'm the one that took the responsibility and thought that it was my role to do everything, to work, to have a business, to have a home life, to take care of stepkids, to do all this other stuff. And oh, man, it was just a lot. It was just a lot. But anyways, flash forward, me at 65. Me at 65 could give a rat's tahootie about all those things, but in a good way, not in a bad way that I'm just completely self-absorbed negatively. But what I am is I'm inner focused now. I'm focused on fulfilling who I'm supposed to be. And my energy, I have to be very discerning about how I use it. For the most part, it's meant to be inner focused at this age. We are meant to be filling up our reserve, the reserve that had gotten drained. At this age, the focus is very, very different. It's about being inward. And what happens when you go inward and we connect back to who we are, which we are in that, we are primed for that, ladies. Right now, you know what I'm talking about. The ones that are in this process or have gone through it, we are primed for the inner journey. And we have our certain senses have heightened, our intuition, all of our clairs, our beautiful clairvoyance and clairsentience, and all of that are really coming into focus. And that's all because it's the inner aspect of us longing to come out, longing to merge with the outward part. And when we do that merging, when we can bring those together in harmony, that is when we turn all that force, we let go of all that trying to manipulate, move around, and change everything in our world, and it becomes power. We don't have to do a whole lot out there. I've said before in videos that I feel like even my creativity now is on steroids. And it's not about doing a whole ton of things out there. It's about doing a select few things, well, actually one thing at a time. That's why I tell you what, it's pretty challenging right now, is that I'm thinking and walking and talking. That's 3 things at once. That's a lot. But what I find now is like my creativity is on steroids as I focus on one thing and whew, I laser like my energy into that. And I can make such beautiful things. And my life is harmonious around me. Of course there's challenges, but most of them are like my inner challenges. But that's like the beauty of aging. That's the beauty of transmuting that energy into something that is more generative for us. And actually, it's not so much transmuting as it is transferring. All that energy I put outwards, I transferred inwards. And through the core of bringing it in, then it comes out. Then it comes out into expression. So here's the challenge for you today. And here's the gift, is to really look at your world. Look at the places where you're feeling exhausted from, the people you might be feeling resentment towards, whether it's your partner, your kids, work, whatever that is to look at that and instead of judging it, is to look at what is the message that it's trying to tell me. And it probably has something to do with the energy that you're putting out and how well it's balanced with what you're receiving in return. Remember, the law of reciprocity is potent and it is steadfast, is that you cannot give without receiving, you can't receive without giving. The two go hand in hand. So if you're feeling that drain of energy, something is off balance. And I bet you something is off balance in the realm of giving and receiving. So take an inventory. Take a really, take an unflinching, honest inventory of your life. And know that it's not about the things out there. It's not about your boss if you're still working. It's not about your partner if you're married or in one. It's not about your kids if you have them. It's about you, okay? It's about you. In another video, we'll talk about how to give space for that to balance back out. But for now, just take that inventory, take responsibility, know that there's something out there that you are not in balance with. Maybe there's something out there you're forcing, and forcing in a way is about circumventing the laws of reciprocity, right? And pushing my will out there and it's not coming back because it's not flowing from power and from truth and from the truth of who you are, okay? Connected inside. So that would be the goal today, is to really look and see, where in your life you're unbalanced, and just be aware of it. Okay? A lot of things can move just through awareness alone. We become aware of a pattern and it starts the ball rolling. It absolutely starts it rolling. How it all balances out and how it all works out, well, there's other things that we can do. But the main thing is that we allow ourselves to come back into the flow of who we really are, which is connected to that higher part, right? And then we let the magic happen. The magic of rebalancing our lives. So I hope that this video is helpful to kind of reframe the difference between power and force, the difference between aging and declining. The real issue here is we're moving from the outward journey into the inner journey. And it's a beautiful one, and it's one that we have to do at this age. It is no longer a choice. Either you move with it through wisdom, or you fight against it, and good luck. Good luck, because the hands of time are moving and we're not getting an increase in the outward ability, physical energy. That is not happening, and it's not going to happen, right? So in some ways that is declining, but let's focus on what is rising up within us. What that inner part of what's rising up, connect with that, and you're going to find that your ability to accomplish, to produce things, to connect with people, to do all the things that you're really longing for right now, that goes on steroids, but it's in a very different way. So allow yourself the freedom to shift into something very new, a new time of life with a new responsibility. The responsibility right now, it's you. Flat out simple, it's you. And if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't make this shift, then you're going to be in a very stressed, difficult place dealing with and handling the whole aging thing. So that's my message. I hope that that's helpful. And the next video, we're going to dive in more into the things that I wish I had known when I was aging. I have a free gift that I've made just for you. It's called The 5 Layers to Shed, Find Yourself Again. Often in this society, women as they age start to feel disconnected, lost, concerned about the whole process, and in fear about aging. If you're feeling those things, you're not broken. Something's not wrong with you. In fact, congratulations, because you're waking up. And if you're waking up, that means it's time for you to start shedding the layers of what has been covering who you really are. So that is why I created this guide, because I want to help you with this process of reclaiming who you really are, reclaiming your authenticity and your power. So all you have to do is click the link in the description. It'll take you to a place where all I need is your first name and email, and I'll send it to you. And I'll also send you a link to a private video that I've made that's talking about this subject. This is not going to be available on YouTube. This is a private link to an unlisted video. I hope you take advantage of this, and I hope that it is helpful for you in your journey. When I was growing old, I hate that word too. These are the things that I wish that my mother could have told me, or my granny, or somebody could have told me about that. Somebody that could pull younger Elisa aside and said, you know what, honey, you don't need to be afraid of this stage at life. You don't need to be. It's beautiful, and this is what's going to be happening to you. So be prepared. And, we're set up for success with it. But right now, we're completely not set up for success, right? Not at all. No one's telling us anything. We listen to the media, we listen to entertainment, we listen to all of that, and it is just a bunch of hooey. It's just not true about aging. So I hope that this is helpful to you, and pass it on to your friends. And as always, if you like, please subscribe, like this video, and comment.